Hey, what's up everybody? This is Joshua Casper. I'm here with Plugin Boutique. Today we're taking a look at the UVS-3200 Programmable Polysynth Synthesizer by UVI. It's a really great plugin if you're looking for vintage sound. Once again, UVI is coming real correct with sampling and emulation of vintage synthesizers. I figured we would go ahead and make an 80s style track using some of these patches. So the first thing we're going to need is 3 instances of the UVS-3200. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to come over into this view here, and we're actually going to go ahead and load up 2 more instances of the UVS-3200, and that's all well and good. Then we're going to click this little gear icon over here, and we have outputs. So we're going to actually change the output here from main out, out 2, and out 3. And that means we need to make those inside of Ableton Live. So I've got the main out will be channel 1. The second channel is going to be an external instrument. We're going to go the UVI workstation. We're going to send the MIDI on this channel to the second channel on the UVI workstation. And we want to receive the audio from the audio out 2 from the UVI workstation. And we're going to repeat that process on the third channel. But of course, we're going to go UVI workstation 1, UVI workstation 3. That way we get that MIDI to the third channel in the UVI workstation, and we receive the audio from that third channel as well. Then we come back in and we should be good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and concentrate on this second channel right here. In the UVI workstation, they're called parts. So we're gonna focus on part 2 here, which is channel 2 in Ableton. And it's the bass line. So what I'm going to do is come down to basses, and I'm actually going to choose bass mod sequence 2. And we are well on our way. I'm not going to change too much with this patch, so I'm going to go ahead and jump over to channel 1, and remember that's part 1 inside of the UVI workstation, and we're going to add some chords. So I want a polysynth and I want stack pad. And if we come down, let's see where those chords are. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, so that sounds really great, but this is where we're going to get into doing some editing here inside of the UVS-3200 GUI here. There are 2 oscillators, and they're both active right now. You can turn them on and turn them off by clicking these red buttons. And you can also flip through a number of the presets for oscillator 1 using this grid right here. And this one you have to click, and then you have a few more inside of here, or you can use the back and forth buttons. And this up here are presets like full presets for patches. So I have, say, the modulation and arpeggio that I want, but I want to just flip through some of the preset sound banks or preset oscillators. I can flip through it here, but if I use this preset up here, it's going to change the arpeggio and the modulation and the effects and everything like that. But if you don't want to change the effects and the arpeggios, you can just use these buttons here and right down here. And here is the signal, volume and panning, amplitude, envelopes, and filtering system for the first oscillator. If you want to change these parameters for the second oscillator, you just click down here. The thing that I want to do is kind of boost up the release time for this synth, because I really want it to trail off after it's triggered. Cool. I'm actually going to come into the effects and crank up that delay a little bit, and maybe even add a little bit more reverb. And jump back into the main and kind of bring down the attack on both of the oscillators. Cool, so let's see what we have so far. Cool. So let's jump into part 3, which is going to be the third channel down here. And I've actually added a filter, so I'm going to turn that off for now. And let's choose a decent preset. I'm going to go with bells, my first bell, and let's go ahead and run that and see what we have right now. Cool, and this bell is actually only one oscillator, but I'm going to add in a second oscillator, and we're going to go ahead and play with some of these presets to see if we can't add a little bit more retro sounding synthesis to it. So maybe a miscellaneous. That sounds pretty good, right? Let's check out the filter settings here. Yeah, everything's looking good. Let's go over to the modulation tab. And let's send that second oscillator to the step modulator here. And let's change the speed to 1/32. And the way this step modulator works here is you can activate it for either one of the oscillators. This is going to be the volume amount, which is going to follow these steps, and the filter is going to apply the filter that you have set up here using the step sequencer as opposed to just a steady flow, a linear flow for the filter. So that filter is actually going to be set up on the main page here for oscillator 1 or oscillator 2, and then you're going to be able to apply that in a step sequencer fashion. There's also an LFO. We don't really need that for this particular project we're working on. And effects, I think everything looks good. Maybe a little bit of delay. And the effects are global effects for the actual patch you're working on. It's not like you can add one to one oscillator and the other to a different oscillator. That's just the way it works. There's also a really great dual arpeggio system over here. Again, we don't need it for this particular project, but it's good to know about. It's kind of set up in the same kind of visual system as the modulation matrix here, or the modulation step sequencer, but it would just apply to an arpeggio. So if I come in now and go ahead and turn on this auto filter, which I have, and it's just automated over time to kind of float in frequency wise, and if we play that from the beginning, so very quickly and easily, we have a great sounding 80s style track. I'm not sure if you recognize it. It's not too close. Hopefully YouTube won't strike the account or anything. But as far as emulation for the 80s style sound, this is just really great. And UVI have done it once again. Anyway, I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time.